In the early 2000s, a workplace sitcom that focuses on behavior trivialities, fame, and social clumsiness was broadcast on television for the first time with little to no acclaim. A show about the manager of a paper company who desperately tries to win the favour and affection of his colleagues through situations that often end up iconically cringeworthy yet also hilarious. The Office. No, not that The Office. The original, UK version of The Office. The version of The Office that was the first British comedy to win a Golden Globe in 25 years. The version of The Office that ranked 6th in the 2019 list of greatest 100 TV shows of the 21st century. The version of The Office that got one man named the most powerful person in television. The man in question being none other than Ricky Gervais. Gervais was born on the 25th of June 1961 and was raised in Whitley, Reading, along with 3 older siblings, 2 brothers and a sister. In 1980, he began studying philosophy at University College London, where he met his now wife, author Jane Fallon. After a failed music career alongside his friend Bill McRae under the new wave pop duo Siona Dancing, Gervais started working as an assistant events manager for the University of London Union before becoming head of speech at XFM Radio. In 1997, Gervais became in need of an assistant, and so he interviewed the first person who sent him a CV, Stephen Merchant. In 1998, Merchant was on a BBC producer training course, and so he and Gervais made a 20-minute short film entitled The CD Bus. In the short, Gervais played a character that would amuse his staff in the same way that he did while working at the radio station. Thus, the character of David Brent was born. The pilot for a series based on this short was commissioned by BBC's head of comedy John Plowman. BBC Two head Jane Root commissioned a full 6-episode series based on the short. The show The Office took on a unique format compared to other sitcoms at the time. Shows like Friends, Frasier, and That 70s Show were all filmed in front of a live studio audience and included a laugh track when someone told a joke to directly inform the viewer that what they just watched was, in fact, funny, whether they liked it or not. But not this show, oh no. There was no laugh track, no long pauses in between sentences so that the studio audience can laugh at what the character said. There was none of that. What there was a single camera setup, no forced laughter, and characters in a story that can be relatable to some. But the thing about relatable comedy is that it's only funny if it's relatable to you, the viewer. For example, let me show you a scene from Good Luck Charlie. Yes, that was a Disney Channel girlie, don't at me.
Look, Charlie! It's the star. And what do we do with it on Christmas Eve? Oh, no, we don't eat the star. No, we do not throw the star. We are not Christmas ninjas. See, not a big deal.
See, that's funny to me because I relate to Teddy. I have 2 little cousins that I've watched grow up that Charlie reminds me of. And it reminds me of how toddlers will put anything and everything in their mouth because they don't know anything about anything. And how they don't care about certain family traditions in the way that older members of the family do. But to someone who perhaps is the younger one in their family, or someone who hasn't been in Teddy's position, watching a younger member of the family through the toddler years, not caring about anything, not listening to anyone, that won't be funny, because they can't relate. Or maybe they just hate Disney Channel with a passion, but still watch it anyway because they have nothing better to do with their lives. Point is, since then, relatable comedy has sort of become the norm when it comes to TV comedies, and that relatable aspect of The Office is part of what made it so successful. Millions of people work in an office, and so they're more likely to enjoy and relate to a show about people who work in an office than people who work in, say, a spaceship. This began a new era of television, one where laugh tracks became less common. 21st century sitcoms such as Arrested Development, New Girl, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine became very popular, and none of them had a laugh track. Sitcoms were changing forever, and along with the relatability, The Office also introduced a new type of sitcom, the mock documentary, aka the mockumentary. A mockumentary is described as one type of film or television show often used to analyse or comment on current events and issues by using a fictional setting, or to parody the documentary form itself. Of course, The Office wasn't the first mockumentary that ever existed, but this definitely launched its popularity. Preceding shows such as Parks and Recreation, Modern Family, and more recently, Abbott Elementary, all use this mockumentary format, and they've all gone on to be award-nominated shows. While the first 6 episodes of The Office didn't receive too much acclaim when it first aired, word spread quickly and high anticipation was built for Series 2. At the 2001 British Comedy Awards, The Office won Best New TV Comedy, and it won the same award in 2002, as well as Ricky Gervais winning Best TV Comedy Actor for his portrayal of David Brent. Staying on that topic, it's one of the basic pieces of knowledge that anyone who enjoys fictional TV shows knows about, In order to make a show successful and cohesive, the characters are supposed to make you feel some type of way about them. For example, in Parks and Recreation, there are characters such as Jean-Ralphio and Jeremy Jam, who you find you either love how much you hate them or hate how much you love them. And that's good because you're not supposed to like them, because they are the worst. But the thing about The Office is that it has a very specific kind of relatable comedy that, when taken out of context, could come across somewhat offensive.
Wow, I'm angry. And not because I'm in it, but because it degrades women, which I hate. And the culprit, whoever he is in this room. Or she, it could be a woman. Women are as filthy as men. Naming no names, I don't know any. But women are dirty. Wow.
And that's funny because it's cringe, because everyone has a David Brent in their life, the boss that tries so hard to not be offensive that they actually end up being offensive. But it wasn't just David Brent that made the show so successful. There were supporting characters like Tim, Dawn, Big Keith, and my personal favourite, Gareth. Is it just me, or does Gareth remind anyone of Orin from Parks and Rec? The show is set in the town of Slough, apparently due to its lack of appeal, even though it gave us wheelie bins and Mars bars. The general premise of the show focuses on David Brent and his attempts to impress his co-workers and the documentary crew. He often does this by trying to be politically correct, and you'll know when he's trying to be politically correct, because he'll always look at the camera and say something like, "which I hate," or "I definitely support that." He finds that his socially awkward behaviour often gets him in trouble, as he often speaks before he thinks. Brent has deluded himself into thinking that he is a hero, all of his employees look up to him, and that he is so open-minded that his brain will fall out. He is so unaware of his colleagues' perceptions of him that to them, he comes across as childish and inconsiderate, but he always thinks he's funny and respected. To some viewers, this could make David Brent come across a bit cocky or tone-deaf, but to the viewers who get it, it's hilarious. Because Brent's socially awkward personality makes him endearing as well as cringe, because we know that all of his, unintentionally offensive jokes all come from a good place. I know that sentence didn't really make much sense, but the point is, if you don't know a David Brent in your life, you are the David Brent in your life. The other main plotline of the show focuses on Tim Canterbury and his crush on receptionist Dawn Tinsley. Throughout the 14 episodes of the show, they have a whole will they won't they storyline, which starts off with casual flirting, but then their relationship grows more and more romantic, even though she's already engaged to a warehouse worker, Lee. So yeah, all you people out there who say, Jim and Pam are my relationship goals, I guess Tim and Dawn are your real relationship goals, as they actually live happily ever after. I think. Of course, with success comes money. With money comes wanting more money. With wanting more money comes an American reboot of The Office. Yay! Okay, let's talk about it. In 2005, Greg Daniels developed The Office for American television. Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant wrote the pilot for the American version of the show. The original team of writers consisted of Mindy Kaling, BJ Novak, Greg Daniels, Paul Lieberstein, and Michael Schur. Daniels considered using the idea of the Dundies Award for a pilot episode, but he thought that starting from scratch would be a risky thing to do. Therefore, the pilot of The Office US was a direct adaptation of the pilot of The Office UK, and by direct adaptation I mean shot-for-shot, word-for-word remake of the pilots of The Office UK. Don't believe me? Just listen to the audio of the UK and US versions of that classic scene in the first episode where Tim/Jim puts Gareth/Dwight's stapler in the jelly.
Put my stapler inside the jelly again. That's the third time he's done it. It wasn't even funny the first time.
Why has he done that?
Just told him once that I don't like jelly. I don't trust the way it moves.
Yeah, you showed him a weakness. He pounced. You should know about that. Oh, what is in it?
It's my stapler.
Well, don't do that. Well, eat it out. There's people starving in the world, which I hate. So, and it's a waste. So, how do you know it's yours?
Because it's got my name on it in Tipex.
Yeah, don't eat it now. Chemicals.
Right, you can be my witness. Give him an official warning.
How do you know it was me?
It's always you. Can't you discipline him?
Oh, kinky. No, the thing about practical jokes, you've got to know when to stop as well as start, and now's the time to stop putting Gareth's personal possessions in jelly, alright?
Gareth, it's only a trifling matter.
Okay, hold on. Judge is in session. What is the problem here?
You put my stuff in Jell-O again. That's real professional. Thanks. It's the third time, and it wasn't funny the first two times either.
All right. What is that?
It's my staple.
No. Do not take it out. You have to eat it out of there. Because there are starving people in the world, and which I hate, and it is a waste of that kind of
Okay,
food.
you know what? You can be a witness. Can you reprimand him, please?
How do you know it was me?
It's always you. Are you going to discipline him or not?
Ooh, discipline. Kinky. All right. Here's the deal, you guys. The thing about a practical joke is that you have to know when to start as well as when to stop.
Yeah.
And Jim, now is the time to stop putting Dwight's personal effects into Jell-O.
Okay. Dwight, I'm sorry, because...
So yeah, reception to the pilot episode of The Office US was, to say the least, mixed. The difference between British comedy and American comedy is that British comedy is more dry and American comedy is more in your face. But you don't need 2 brain cells to realise how frustrating it could be for audiences who live and breathe off of The Office UK to see how lifeless America had made what some would have considered at the time to be the greatest show that had ever been made ever. I mean, like, imagine how frustrating it was for me because I had to watch both of those clips back to back to get the audio. And the worst part? Michael Scott was a jerk. And not like in the way that David Brent does it, where, like, you can tell why he is that way. He's a jerk. And the second episode, Diversity Day, didn't help change people's perceptions of him. However, the second season was much better received. We started understanding more about the characters, Jim, Pam, Dwight, etc. And Michael started becoming his own character. The second season also gained viewers because Steve Carell had more recently become more popular due to his hit movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin. But in my opinion, the show really hit its stride in the third season. The episode Grief Counselling was like legit my favourite episode of the show for a while.
Thanks. A few years ago, my family was on a safari in Africa, and my cousin, Mufasa, he was trampled to death by a pack of wildebeests, and we all took it really hard. All of us kind of in the audience of what happened.
Do you want to talk about it anymore?
Oh, it would probably take me like an hour and a half to tell that whole story.
I don't really know what else to say about The Office US because we all know how much of a phenomenon it is. The show received a total of 42 Primetime Emmy nominations, winning 5. Steve Carell being nominated for 6 of them with his performance of Michael Scott. He never won an Emmy, but he did win a Golden Globe. And in 2006 and 2008, The Office was named Best TV Series by the American Film Institute. And there's a reason for that. Between seasons 2 and 7, there are some legendary episodes, such as The Fire, Benihana Christmas, Safety Training, Fun Run, Dinner Party, Goodbye Toby, Weight Loss, Baby Shower, Michael Scott Paper Company, Company Picnic, Gossip, Niagara, Koi Pond, Scott's Tots, Secret Santa, Seminar, Fret Level Midnight, Garage Sale, Goodbye Michael, and of course, Stress Relief.
Are you okay?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Can you tell me why you had to cut the face off the dummy?
I didn't think it was very realistic in the movie, and it turns out it's pretty realistic.
The episode is not only the best episode of The Office, it's also one of the best TV episodes of all time. But the only thing is, lots of people forget to appreciate the original Office. When someone says, "Do you like The Office?" they're more likely to think of the American one. When some people come across a clip of the UK Office, they're more likely to be like,
A British version of The Office? Why would they want to do that? Our version a million times better. Stupid Brits trying to take credit for everything. This is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
yet they don't know that this is what started it all. Ricky Gervais started it all. And by all, I mean a new era of sitcoms. Laugh tracks became less common, and mockumentaries are one of the best forms a sitcom can take. For years, there have been multiple rumours about The Office spin-offs and reboots that never came to fruition. However, in 2008, there was a proposed spin-off in which a Dunder-Mifflin copy machine breaks down and is then shipped to Pawnee, Indiana. However, the issue with the spin-off would be the fact that Rashida Jones, who played the role of Karen in The Office, would be playing a separate role, Ann Perkins, in this show. So they just decided to make Parks and Recreation its own show. Just like The Office, Parks and Rec also had a rough first season, as the characters were undeveloped, and the protagonist Leslie Knope just seemed like the female version of Michael Scott. This show was referred to by some critics as a less funny version of The Office, but when season 2 came around, it really started trying to find its own feet. It ran for 7 seasons, never jumped the shark, and it is still my absolute favourite show of all time. The Office, however, I'd be lying if I said it didn't jump the shark. I think the majority of people would say that they prefer The Office US to UK, even though those people probably haven't seen the UK one. If you ask me, it's complicated. If The Office US had ended after season 2, then I would say the UK one is better. If The Office US ended when Michael left, like it should have, then I would say The Office US is better. But it didn't, so I honestly don't know. But I feel like the issue with modern sitcoms is that they aren't getting a proper chance. A recent example being Blockbuster. I only saw a few episodes of it, and it was fine. But if it was given a second season and a chance for it to find out what it truly wanted to be, then it could have been more than fine. But no, if something doesn't get like millions of views within a couple of weeks, it gets canned. Ricky Gervais, however, knows when and how to end a show. Most of his sitcoms, such as Extras and Derek, end after only 2 seasons, the exception being Afterlife on Netflix, which I seriously recommend if you haven't already seen it. The thing about Ricky Gervais is that he's consistent. He knows when to start and when to stop. He doesn't want his work to jump the shark, and that's why his work, works. Of course, it's not just TV. He's also done stand-up specials. And the Ricky Gervais Show podcast with Stephen Merchant and Carl Pilkington, which was later adapted into an animated show. I could make a separate video about Carl Pilkington, but basically just go please watch An Idiot Abroad. Regardless of which version of The Office you prefer, you need to acknowledge that Ricky Gervais started it all. He may think that The Office wouldn't get made in today's climate, but he still started it all. He is the man who showed us how to do a mock documentary right. He is the man who showed us that a show doesn't need a laugh track in order to be funny. He is the man that changed the face of the 21st century sitcom. And that is why he was named the most powerful person in television. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Follow me here, stay venomous, and I hope I'll see you next time.